Oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that.
It's okay, we can buff it out. Okay, ready?
Let's buff it out. We're always endgame. Like, you're so cute together.
That is the type of friendship energy we need from the listeners of this podcast.
Yes. If you can't get on board with that, no. I know you guys get it. Okay, so what do we think? Be honest.
Wait, I need a top coat. They look amazing. Okay. I was just cleaning up the edges a little bit. Okay. They almost look like rose quartz. That's what it is.
Quartz. That's something like marble quartz. Yeah.
Okay. So now's our favorite time. I said that at the beginning, and now I'm saying it at the end. Now's the time we get into our unpolished opinions.
This is where we're going to answer our listener questions that you guys write in. I just want to say, I'm going to plug it here. If you love our podcast and you want us to keep doing this, share us with a friend, leave us a written review, and just spread the love in that way. That's the best thing that you guys can do for us, okay? So let's get into our unpolished opinions segment. I think I'm going to point this one more towards Caitlin, because Caitlin has a little bit more experience in this realm. But how do I build up my self-esteem and confidence after leaving a very toxic, borderline abusive relationship?
I'm really sorry that you had to go through that. It's a very deep, dark place to get into and a really hard situation to get yourself out of. So the fact that you're even writing in, good job. Congratulations. It sounds like you're coming out on the other side of it, which is the hardest part. That's the first step, right? I was in a very toxic relationship. I would say borderline abusive, or definitely mentally abusive for sure. Borderline physical. And it's really difficult to get out of it. Your question was more about like how to build yourself up once you're out of it. So it sounds like you've already like made your way.
Seriously, I want to chime in, like, so proud of you. Like, I know how, I personally never dealt with it, but I know how hard it can be to get out of it and to get out of that cycle. So like, kudos to you. You are amazing.
Yes, you are so strong. You are so brave, and it can feel really hopeless at times. And I don't know how long you've been out of it, but hopefully by now you're seeing how much brighter and better life is. But I know that so for me, like right when I came out of a situation like that, there's a lot of trauma that will pop up for years. There's trauma that pops up in my relationship now that's a healthy relationship that I've been in for years. And there's little tendencies that you'll kind of always have to like work on. But I think the first thing you have to do is just kind of notice without judgment when it comes up, like when you're being really sensitive, when you're overreacting about things, when you're being very triggered by things that maybe a new partner does or a new like prospective partner does. Like when you do start to maybe develop a relationship again, or you're like looking at prospective relationships, you might notice some triggers popping up where you're a little bit more sensitive or on edge than before. Like I used to always assume that Brian was mad at me. So I'd be like not wanting to do certain things because that's going to make him mad, or always thinking like, oh, well, you're just going to be mad, or sorry, like always apologizing. And he's just like, chill out. I'm not mad. Like, I'm not mad. Why do you think that I'm mad? And I would automatically get so defensive. And so I think that's one thing to just become very aware of. Am I being defensive? Are they actually mad? Let's calm down, because normal people, what we have to relearn when you come out of a semi-abusive relationship, you have to learn that normal people don't explode, and normal people don't get mad at you for little dumb stuff. And you really lose sight of that. You think that it's normal for them to be upset for, like, I was to the point where, let's just say I dropped a cup and it broke, I would apologize. Like, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I've made a mess. And also the noise probably like shook you. And so I would profusely apologize for that. Even if I cut my own hand, I wouldn't want him to know, because like I would be in trouble for hurting myself, because that would be stupid of me. And so it gets to like, when you're that far in and you're apologizing for things that are honest mistakes and not even your fault, and honestly they should be like, are you okay, and coming to help you, like that's when you know things are really twisted, and normal people don't do that. And so you really have to retrain your brain when you're coming out of a relationship like that to know like, oh, this person actually loves me, this person actually wants to help me, this person actually wants to make my life easier, and that's normal and good. And also, this is something that's not talked about enough, but there is a certain thing that happens to our brains where we kind of become addicted to the chaos and become addicted to the drama. And there has been moments in my lovely normal life where I have thought that things are stale, right? Like the makeup And I'm not talking about sex. I'm literally talking about the highs and lows. Like the lows would be really bad, but then like the making up and fixing the relationship and the goods would be really high, right? So when you don't have the lows and the highs and you have a relationship that's just like good all the time, you're like, oh, but where's the like profusely like falling back in love again and like making up and everything being good, like this like crazy relieved feeling? Like you don't really have that. And so it's okay. I think it's really important to, if you feel yourself getting antsy and feeling yourself wanting to ruin a good thing, you have to turn to yourself and say, no, this is normal. This is the reason that I'm not getting these crazy highs and I'm maybe not feeling the spark today is because I'm not getting those horrible lows where I'm literally like feeling so crappy and being mistreated. And so you are kind of in a way like sacrificing the bad to like be okay with the normal. I don't know if that's a good way of putting it, but you have to start appreciating like the normalcy, and you have to fall in love with the mundane, because things are not going to be as exciting and you're not going to have the drama and you're not going to have the makeup, and this is actually better. And you need to not run away from a good thing. You need to not run away from a normal thing, and you need to be very appreciative. And I think that people that come out of really abusive relationships like mostly are grateful when they are in a better relationship, but sometimes you get yourself into a toxic cycle where like now you go out and seek the same guy again and again, and unless you check yourself and unless you realize like, oh my gosh, I'm self-sabotaging, like I'm seeking out something bad again just to have that like excitement. Because this is the thing about those like very toxic relationship guys is at first it's always like the best few months of your life. It's always like the most dramatic
love bombing. Do you feel like that's what you got from?
Oh yeah, like the gifts and the effort and the communication, and it's all just like, wow, like I've never experienced anything like this before, and they're so obsessed with me and like they want to take care of me, and like, oh, they want to like pay for things, and they're telling me like you don't even need to work, and like what they're really doing is like stripping you down and isolating you, and next thing you know you move to a different city and you have no job and you have no friends and you have no family, and
they swept you off your feet and they're going to take care of everything.
Yep. And then what happened to me was they turned to you and they're like, well, you need to start contributing and you need to start paying for things and you need to like get some friends, and like I don't even want to hang out with you. And this question wasn't about me, so like I'll bring it back to you. But like
we gotta do a whole episode on this, because seriously, like we can go on and on.
It can get really bad. I can go on, and I feel like I should probably go on and on in therapy and not on the podcast.
No, I think it's really, honestly, everything you've just like delved into, like I'm very interested. I think it could be another episode that would be really, I think it's beneficial for people to hear your personal experience.
But going back to your question, which was like, how do you build yourself back up again afterwards? It's like recognizing that it was an unhealthy situation, recognizing when you're attracting yourself back into those similar types of situations because it is addictive, because it's like a drug, right? It's like you have those highs that you like crave and you think that was like the good parts, so you want to find a relationship that was like only the good parts, but like it's not going to be that extreme in a normal relationship. And also diving into yourself and not looking for a relationship to fill that void right away. So finding out when you're in a relationship like that, like everything's about them, right? So you're constantly serving them, you're trying not to make them mad, you're trying to keep them happy so that you can keep your peace, and you're not even thinking about like, what would I like to do? All you're trying to do is make sure that they don't like get set off and attack you verbally or otherwise. And so now when you have this peace and quiet and free time, you get the opportunity to be like, what do I even like? What are my hobbies? What do I like to wear? What do I want to spend my time doing? What do I want to watch on TV? And so I think it's a really special time that you should not rush, where you can actually enjoy it and soak it in and have a peaceful house. It's a really weird experience to enjoy coming home. I mean, other people are like, no, it's not. But that's how I felt, like, oh my gosh, I like my house. Like driving up.
Like you feel safe and you feel calmness in your home.
Something that I've always said to Brian, and we both said it to each other, we're very grateful for our relationship and we know we have a good relationship because when we pull up to the house and we see each other's car outside, we don't feel disappointed. We feel excited. And that's how I felt when I was in a toxic relationship, like pulling up, like, oh, is he home yet? Like, dang it, he's already here. I don't get like a moment to myself or like, oh, here we go again. But when I pull up and I see Brian's car outside, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to like tell him about my day, or like, good, he's already home. Like I'm excited. And so that's also like, side note, just like a good way to tell like how you feel about your partner But when you become single and you pull up to the house and there's nobody there, it can be kind of sad at first, but you need to take advantage of this time. And maybe you're someone that's relieved, or maybe you're somebody that's like depressed by it. But really think about, how can I maximize this time? Because eventually you probably will find somebody else and you'll never be alone again. And there are pros and cons to that, sister.
Yes, so true, dude. So true.
No.
The grass is greener.
Yeah.
That is such the like single versus like in a committed relationship effect.
Yeah.
100%.
No, but I do love coming home to my partner and figure out your hobbies, go to workout classes, find some friends, become more social, and yeah, recognize the unhealthy patterns like mentally that you've developed, and give yourself some grace. Those would be my overall
That's
tips.
really good. That's really, really valuable. I think we're going to end it there, you guys.
Yeah.
I love that. I think this was a really fun episode. I hope everybody has some new trends to run with and just new perspectives. And we will see you guys next week.
That was poppin'. Finger
No,
poppin'.
you got it wrong again. That's not the quote.
Finger popping each other's assholes.
Yeah, you keep saying that was poppin'. That's not the
Well,
quote.
I'm not going to just say assholes over and over again on this podcast, Kendall.
Because then somebody's toddler, like my toddler, is going to repeat it over and over again.
Exactly.
Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Bye.